Yeah, it truly feels like an end to an era. I just started my last semester of university on my undergrad. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm at the beach. I feel like studying abroad was my goal for like a long time, especially during lockdown. Like traveling wasn't an option. It was around then that I actually like came across the like you'd be eligible to study abroad, and I'm like, well, not right now, but you know, that was always something that I thought would be a really cool experience, because I never went away for university. I have just been living in the same city my entire life essentially, and yeah, I've just lived at home, and I felt like in a way I was like missing out on kind of the experience, having those bonds with like roommates and being more like, my life has drastically changed. I am an English major and sometimes I make up words like dramatically. Anyway, so I saw like studying abroad just maybe to be an opportunity for me to experience that. I started talking with two of my like best friends at the time about doing this together. I didn't really think at the time that it would be something that I could or wanted to do alone. If I had friends there, you know, we'd all be in this kind of experience together. Things happened, time went by, I realized that they weren't really super duper interested in it, but I still really wanted to like make it happen for myself, really pushed myself out of my comfort zone, or I hadn't taken advantage of these like opportunities before when they were there. So once like things started opening up again, I was like, I'm gonna go to these events. I just started doing more things on my own and actually kind of getting out of the bubble of like my high school friends, and then I just gained more confidence in myself and also made more connections in like my university community. I don't know, one day it just suddenly wasn't as daunting anymore, and I was like, I know I could do that. I know it's not going to be easy, but like I think it's something I should go for. If I can go abroad, let's do it. I was just itching for some change in my life, and it's funny because I feel like now over the past 8 months or something, like there's been literally so much change happening in my life that it got to the point of me being like, okay, life, like you can calm down, like this is a bit much. You're the one who manifested in a way like a lot of these things to happen because I pushed myself when I was feeling, I feel so stuck, and it's good. It has been bad, sad, emotional, a journey, realizing that I still have so many more areas that I want to grow in. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like I want something new to inspire me, I would say do it, but also at the same time, it's not all fun and rainbows and this and that. When you're saying change, it's all of the above, and I don't think you can call it necessarily negative or positive. It's just as it is, but I feel a sense of positivity in the way that I knew like past me really wanted just to live, and I feel like I have done that, and that is what I'm proud of myself for doing. I went to University of Glasgow, so there's like so much information specifics to the school and such that you can find online, so I won't be going into all of that. I'm more talking about my own experience as well as answering some questions that some of my friends / other students at my university asked about studying abroad. My main disclaimer going into it is that it really also depends on your program at your school that you're coming from / going to, in terms of how it might be for academics or acceptance and things like that. So that's why I'm not getting into those details. I forget like how hard talking is. I ended up doing a 1 semester, so around, it's like 4 months, September to December, and it was from my university, which has like an exchange agreement. So because of that, I just got to pay like my regular tuition to my university and attend the University of Glasgow. Super cool that they have these exchange agreements because of course like international student fees are quite high. University of Glasgow specifically looks like a castle. Like, it is beautiful. Yes, I am a Dark Academia fan, okay? Like I wanted the vibes. I will honestly say I want the vibes. The other major deciding factor, of course, was the fact that I'm studying English, or like in Glasgow, they call it the English Literature department. That made it a little bit easier to pick because I had to go to a place where they teach English literature. I needed some place that also had a variety of course options that were likelier to transfer back. I think it was Glasgow and Leeds that I had, because you have to put multiple options on your application. That helped me whittle it down, just knowing like, okay, I would have good study options. I also was helped just by watching videos like this. Helps so much just to kind of see what like the life is like, kind of how close things would be. I really wanted to be in an accessible, like walkable city, and Glasgow really was that. I really enjoyed it. Scholarships, I knew that they offered specific like study abroad ones, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I apply to those. It was still quite a process, but the fact that I was already talking to like one of my professors about studying abroad, I got her to be my reference, I was talking to my volunteer coordinator. It was like I was already having those conversations, so it was a lot easier to just be like, oh, can you also please like do a reference for this? And I pretty much got like my semester tuition covered, and yeah, that helped a lot because then I could focus on all the additional expenses that come with study abroad, such as your accommodation, your food, your transportation, your fun, you know, travel. I was like, I'm missing a big one. Your travel expenses and your plane tickets, yada yada yada. It adds up. I made like myself a little spreadsheet. I put like the due dates. I did make like a study abroad hub on my Notion. It's so great for like bookmarking things. I love how you can copy and paste a website and then bookmark it so you have a little image. So I did that for like places I want to visit. One like page I did continuously use throughout my study abroad was like my meal planning one, and this ended up being really casual. I just like put recipes that I enjoyed. I kind of had a weekly shopping list, and yeah, that was probably like my most used like reoccurring thing on my Notion. Packing wins and struggles, what I did well and what I didn't do so well. I said leave some space. Yes, because you were literally one of the first things I thrifted when I was there was a coat. Like the biggest clothing item you can get. I don't know, I really love that coat. But you certainly want to leave some space in your suitcase if you're going to live somewhere temporarily. You need certain items you can't do without, but then there's also some items that you can probably buy and like refill when you're abroad. So yeah, important so you're not taking like unnecessary things with you. Then waterproof shoes if you're going to Scotland, if you're going to the Netherlands. I think that was an obvious one, but I just had the unfortunate circumstance of like whatever happened with me. I think I just did this on a Google Doc. I like made basically the few months before I was scheduled to go abroad, put it by like month by month, and then put in the certain tasks that I would have to do, because there are things, booking like your plane tickets, and like I couldn't really do that until I had my acceptance letter, until I had my accommodation confirmed. So there is a lot, and it can feel really overwhelming, but to break it down and just kind of do an overview like months before of like, okay, this is when I'm gonna have to do this task, helps so much, because you cannot keep it all in your brain. So definitely write it down. And yeah, my university helps a lot in terms of like, they have lists of what you need to do beforehand, or just all those like so many admin things that you don't think about, your phone plan, yeah, your banking, doing all this work. I would have liked to stay longer. I would have liked to do a year exchange. However, in like my case, it made the most sense for me to do a 1 semester, just because I'm very close to graduating. So academically, it didn't really make sense. But I think now, like, you know, if I ever got the opportunity to like do a work placement or internship, like I kind of know now from this experience that I'm capable. And I remember like packing my stuff at the end and just feeling like I want to go. Like, yeah, like I really didn't want to come home. At the same time, I miss my family and friends, and like I do love my university and like community here, but it's so hard, like when you obviously put so much work into building a life somewhere, and just be like, time to pack it all up. But I know that like the memories and like the connections that I'll make are still going on, and I might have a chance to like visit again in the future. I mean, I really would like to. Yeah, I really enjoyed the experience of like getting to actually live somewhere and kind of experience a day-to-day life, rather than when you're traveling in a city, you just get to like stop and just like live as much, because you might be, oh, let's go see XYZ, let's go, you know, to these spots, and you're honestly exhausted. It's just an entirely different experience, and it was super cool. Didn't expect it to be so hard to find accommodation, and the first part was I was just hoping to get it at the university, but first time this past year, not guaranteed for exchange students. Like 1 semester students were even like lower on the priority list, and that was really tough, because recommended you to look into private accommodation, but private accommodation, leasing something, minimum like 6 months. There isn't a lot of options for 1 semester students, and that is another reason like it might be easier if you were staying longer. Again, depends on where you're going. If you're staying in university accommodation, where you know the other places you're going don't have housing crises, it might not be as difficult, but I struggled with this a lot. I ended up like looking at spare room. I ended up on Airbnb, and I ended up doing a long stay Airbnb. I really lucked out. Like honestly, I was like super happy with my accommodation there, and I felt like it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because university accommodation, I wouldn't have had the amount of like space that I did, and it probably would have been a lot more louder. And I had 2 roommates that were also like young women, and it ended up working out really well. It was a beautiful flat. I loved it. It was a bit cold. It's literally, guys, the UK. I'm from Canada, okay? I would say the biggest tips are to read up on scams to avoid and really do your due diligence, because yeah, you don't want to end up there and find out like you don't have a place to stay, I had like a mutual friend who studied abroad at the University of Stirling, and so I got to like meet her for coffee, hear from her experience, so I found that very valuable. But definitely, if you are doing the 1 semester stay, spare room or like a long stay Airbnb are the way to go, because you can find someone who maybe is also away for like that amount of time and they're like just renting out their room. So there you go. I would suggest researching beforehand in terms of like places you might want to go, as well as clubs you might want to join and your university. And that was something that I knew I wanted to do right away, to like kind of get a sense of community and make friends, because that was how I made friends back at my home university. So at University of Glasgow, I was super excited to see that there's a musical theater society, they call them societies there, and I hadn't done like musical theater since high school, but I'm a big fan. And it was made even better by the fact that in their fall semester they do a weekend show, which is literally one weekend to perform a musical. And I was blown away at like how well organized this was, you know, by the student team. Like they had been organizing it, like the key is that they had been organizing it for like months in advance, but then it happens over a weekend. Kind of Thursday auditions, Friday was one of the first rehearsals, and then Saturday like dress rehearsal, second rehearsal, Sunday show. It was absolutely insane. I got COVID. Not as fun, but damn, that really cemented my first, I guess it was the second weekend that I was in Glasgow, but like the second week I was in Glasgow. Also, classes started a bit later there, so it was so weird to me, because like at home I knew my friends were like in classes and I was just like, I'm doing a weekend show and I went to Barcelona, and yeah, I was just like, whoa, this is kind of wild and super exciting and super exhausting. I was so tired. They did like kind of like the societies day, they do this at my university as well, where they table and you can go check them out. First thing I did was like a campus tour, of course, and I actually met one of my friends there, and so that was super sweet because we ended up being good friends the rest of my time there. And I just met her from going to a campus tour. So like as soon as you can, like, get involved, and then you'll start meeting people. And I wrote, reflect on your intentions beforehand. So what do you want to get out of this experience? How are you going to get it? Some people really are excited to travel and travel a lot, especially if you're going to the UK or Europe. And yeah, for me, I think I knew like I wanted to do a bit of travel, but that wasn't really like my main objective. Like my main objective was to have the experience of being on my own, building confidence, and being able to kind of explore more of my passions and my interests. This is how I did it, but of course you might have different goals, and that's okay. I think it's just important to like reflect and then like realize what are the actions you can put behind that. When you get there, it is just like so much to do. I was completely overwhelmed. Of course, like already traveling there, I hadn't like slept oh my gosh, like 12 hours, a little bit crazy, and there's an 8-hour time difference, so it just takes a while to like get settled with that, and then like finding out where is the closest grocery store, like, and where's the best deal grocery store, you know, how do I take transit here. There's so much to like discover, and it's super overwhelming. Like I would just recommend to like connect with people like right from the get-go. Like if you're staying in university accommodation, then you might have more of a community right there. But even me, like talking to my Airbnb host, talking to like my flatmates was super useful because they could just tell me, you know, you can find a lot of things on the internet, but like nothing beats just like having someone be like, oh, it's this, or you know, take this, or this is the best route to go. I had my mom as well, who came with me for the first 2 weeks. Nice to just have her support as well in the start of like, I don't know how she did it, like she went grocery shopping like just after a few hours had gotten there, and I was like, I was out, I was in bed like a zombie, right? And she was grocery shopping, like, how? I think just as a generally like anxious person, you know, like all of that takes so much energy that I was just so exhausted a lot of the time there, and I actually got quite sick. Like I got sick multiple times. You really are uprooting your life, changing your routines, and doing schoolwork and trying to travel and make new friends. It is so much, and my body definitely took the toll of that. Even though I was trying to like prioritize getting enough sleep, I ended up going to the gym eventually. There's just some things you can't like rush as well when it comes to like making new routines. It is a lot, so just be like kind to yourself, be patient to yourself if you are feeling like frustrated, if you're feeling like impatient, if you're feeling anxious, like that is all completely normal. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to like get sick so many times, and like, you know, dealing with that is already hard when you're like doing a full semester of classes. So yeah, it's really finding that balance of like pushing yourself and then also being like, it's okay. Also, you need some time just to rest and like really soak in like how much work you have done to get there. And that was something that I was feeling kind of go in those first weeks. It is so integral to like take those moments to just enjoy yourself, because if not, it is gonna go by and you're like, oh my gosh, I made it to, you know, like this has been a dream for me and I'm here. And it was when I took those intentional moments that I was just filled with so much like gratitude for myself and all the like work I've been doing, and feeling like in a sense of peace of being like, okay, you know, don't worry so much about what's to come, because like look how far you've gotten. And that's something to celebrate right now. Oh, exploratory mindset. It's like almost like gamifying my life in a way, and be like, okay, we're on an adventure. Yes, this is new. Yes, it's a bit scary. Yes, I don't know like what the heck, but like think about how exciting that can be as well. And there's so much to explore. So taking that like approach kind of helped me. And when you adopt that mindset, like, I don't know, you feel like you're a little bit less afraid to be seen trying, even like buying a subway ticket. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? But just like being okay with that, being like, yes, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just like embrace that. I'm gonna ask for help. You have to like let yourself be okay with that. And I don't know, maybe it's easier for some people, but I know a lot of people like kind of struggle with that, like kind of being seen, not knowing what you're doing, and like, you know, being a little silly. I will tend to feel like that in any new place or experience I have. But just being curious and adopting the exploratory mindset and not like being hard on yourself. I don't know, but then you're not going to hold yourself back, then you're going to be able to grow more confident. I ended up getting a Wise card, which was super duper useful. You basically can like load different currencies on the card. You do have to get it in advance of your travels though, but it worked out well for me. I think it was around 2 weeks in advance and I ordered it, and it came just before I went away, so that worked out for me for financial stuff, and you can get a better exchange rate. One question I got from a friend was if you're able to do upper division elective credits while abroad. Specifically, like in Glasgow, there's only like some courses that were offered to exchange students, so you have to make sure that they're gonna like recognize your prereqs as well. And so that is quite the process to figure out, but you end up talking to like the advising team at like the university that you're applying for in that case. So yeah, it's definitely possible, but again, depends where you end up going, but that would probably influence your decision. Another question I got was, does it cost more to be abroad for school or the same? And so I kind of answered this a little bit already, talking about scholarships and tuition. So in my case, it was the same for tuition, but of course you have the additional costs of your travel, your living expenses, all of that. And one thing that helped me for just trying to estimate costs is looking at my like study abroad office at my school had kind of like estimated costs for like big countries, but there's so many amazing videos out there where people actually like break down like what, as a student like in the city, like what they're spending per week, for example. And the U of G YouTube actually has student vloggers, and so I watched a lot of those videos, which were super helpful, and I just was able to like kind of create a range of costs, which helped me make sure in advance that I was good on the budget side. I know a lot of students are like working part-time along with their studies, or I did that, as well as I also did a few work terms at like my university. The last question I got, which I think is a really good one, is what is the scariest part about studying abroad? And I feel like the scariest thing would have just not been taking that opportunity. I think my life has changed so much since then. Even like before I went abroad, like just having this kind of mindset of like being open to new experiences, being exploratory, and putting that in practice has changed my life so much for, you know, the better. And I would be so sad if I hadn't like gone for it. I think that's the scariest thing. I can't even imagine like what my life would have been like, but it would not be what I am now. And so yeah, that's kind of wild. I think of course that all just takes time and patience with yourself to be there when you are feeling homesick, when you're feeling stressed out, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're literally sick. Like my first year friend that I made there, I got like a message from her on my birthday, and she joined like the musical theater group with me literally in her like first week, and she was like thanks so much, you know, you inspired me to like go out of my comfort zone. Like, how amazing is that? Like I feel like I'm constantly inspired by people, and just like the act of me pushing myself out of my comfort zone and encouraging other people as well, you know, it just all goes around. And it was so sweet to like read that message and to be like, I like knew what it was like to be a first year student, letting go of certain pressures that you feel, and just be like just do it because it's fun, like let's just go, like, you know, and don't be too attached to the result, and like let's just go have an experience. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you later. Safe travels, and okay, bye.